It's recording. Sorry, I had the volume turned down. Yep.
Can everybody online hear us? Can you wave if you can hear us? Okay,
Perfect.
good. Thank you. Oh, I see the thumbs up. It's perfect. Okay, I will call this meeting, this regular meeting of the University Town Board to order. It is April 8th, 2025, and I will call it to order effectively at 7 p.m. May we please have a roll call?
Yes. Ms. Weatherby,
Present.
Ms. Bouchard,
Present.
Ms. Olson,
Present.
Mr. Goldman, Mr. Boggs.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. There was an agenda that was posted last Friday. Are there any alterations or changes anybody wants to make to the agenda as presented? If not, let's have a motion to approve as presented. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, that brings us to what I'm not being here for. We have a public hearing. The purpose of the public hearing is to have an opportunity for the town board to hear directly from the public on thoughts, feelings, concerns, otherwise related to the proposed donation of land to the town for recreation purposes. This is not a legally required public hearing, but it is a great opportunity to codify and provide the public an opportunity to share their thoughts and opinions. We have received quite a number of letters at the end. We actually have copies of them physically as of yesterday. No, as of April 6th, right?
Today.
As of today. they're
Up to
online.
date.
These
Oh,
are as of
no.
today.
Oh, those are today.
Online.
Online, it's yesterday.
Yep, online as of yesterday. I believe we are at almost 100, 86 was submitted, so we're good. Included in the record as well. We'll give you a breakdown after everybody has a chance to say their piece. So the way this works is that everybody will have an opportunity to speak once, up to 3 minutes on this topic. I do have a timer, and please tell us your name, your residence, and it'd be great if you wouldn't mind coming up here, if you're able to, if you're in person, so we can make sure that the public can see the recording, and also that we can hear your voice as well. And what I do is go back and forth in the room and online, so everybody has an opportunity. We will keep the public hearing running until everybody has had a chance to speak more. So given the size, I don't think we're gonna be able to go for a second round tonight. We have some other business, but you can always submit comments as well. And that address is clerk@townofulystonlive.gov. And that email address is also available on the website. So with that, I will open it up to our first speaker. So please show by raising hand or raising your hand. If you'd like to go, please go ahead.
My name is Christine Wallace. I live at 5181 Cold Springs Road. My major concern with the development of a park and athletic fields on our road is the traffic it will generate. Our road is oil and stone and very narrow. The shoulder is almost non-existent and not straight. Add to that a driveway for two-way traffic that is only 30 feet wide when zoning requires 50 feet. I estimate the two fields there will be upward of 220 cars a day. On a slow day, my calculations are 30 children playing on each field, times two fields, times two games per day. Anyone that has been at the school for practice or game days knows how dangerous the driveways and the parking lot can be. So in the declaration of the policy statement, I quote, "The law was enacted to promote the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community to lessen congestion on the streets. This development goes against several of these policies and should not go forward."
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody online who wishes to address? Please go ahead.
I don't know if my name is showing. Oh, there. I'm Marlene Darfler. I wish I was there in person, but I'm not feeling well, so I will just read a little statement. I was at a meeting yesterday, and they opened the meeting with the quote saying, "The best way to respond to the future is to imagine it." So I started imagining. And I was realizing in these turbulent times when many neighborhood and community connections have been weakened due to our busy and kind of plugged in lifestyles, building resilience and understanding, forming bridges between people through community projects and shared community spaces is what we need to help care for each other and support each other as we move forward. One of the main ingredients of a strong community is shared public space, especially shared green space. This parkland can become a place where our children play formally and informally with peers and children younger and older, a place where they can learn skills and feel connected to the neighborhood and the community. It can be a place where adults play and gather and connect, again, across different ages and interests. It can become a place for community activities and events. And as we all know, after the spring camp sign-up issue, a place to expand the summer camp options for our youth. This park will be for everyone, but what may be its best asset is as a place for kids to play, a place to meet friends, a place to be outdoors, and a place that can fill a child with memories, connecting them to a place. It's what every child in our community deserves. Thank you.
Okay. Next up, anybody want to do this? Pretty good.
Andy Harrington, 110 Tamarack Lane, please. I'm going to comment on something that was in one of the letters that I read, and I read about 50 of them. It's also important to recognize that some of the strongest opposition is coming from individuals who have not lived here full time, including those who own vacation homes or short-term rentals, an issue that presents its own challenges for our community. While all perspectives should be considered, the voice of year-round residents who will benefit most from the project deserve to be prioritized. If you're paying taxes in the town of Ulysses, everybody has a right to say what they want to say and comment, and especially if it's the road or the driveway is right against one of those homes, driveways. It's right next to their property. So I think that everybody should be there.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody on who wishes to address the community? Nancy, please.
Hi, good evening. I too am feeling a little under the weather and decided not to share that with you. I'm Nancy Zahler. I live at 3480 Agard Road, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to address you tonight. First, I just want to go on record as saying I am very grateful that the Pritz family has offered this a parcel of their land on Cold Spring Road to the town for open space and recreation. And having served on the town board and the youth commission in the recent past, I'm aware of the needs of families with children in organized sports that can't be accommodated at the school. And I think the open space for recreation has been an important part of the comprehensive plan in the past, and hopefully will continue to be a priority in the upcoming plan. Outdoor recreational space so close to the village, or this close to the village, could be a valuable asset. And I think for many of the people that I know who ended up voting no on the referendum you had last year, virtually every one of them said, I think that the need is there and the idea is terrific. The concern was the location. And I think the Pritz parcel coming forward at this time addresses many of those concerns. I think that it is important to make sure there's safe access and that needs to be considered. Certainly the comments that were just made about traffic, I think are issues that can be addressed by the town and the highway department with making sure that there are good, safe shoulders, perhaps line striping on that road. Might become an eligible road for the town and the state DOT to consider reduced speed limits, again, to assure safety. But I think that in addition, if the path that was alluded to from the school could be developed for walking and biking, that certainly would be ideal. Good exercise to get there, safer route. And also, because it is not that far off Route 96, the TCAT bus could be in the future, when more is developed, if you choose to accept the property. I think there's an openness on the part of TCAT to consider, having a stop there, which would reduce perhaps the number of cars and people coming back and forth.
Sorry, we hit your 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll
Then
come
any
again.
more comments, feel free to listen. Thank you. Okay, is there anybody in person who wishes to make a comment?
Is the floor open right now?
No, we're going back and forth. Please be careful.
Just watch out for the cords.
We'll come back online in just a minute. We're gonna go back and forth.
I don't have anything written. I'm just gonna speak, from what I've heard in the meetings I've been to. I totally agree that, kids need this recreational space and adults too. And I appreciate the generosity of Allison and Marvin. It seems to me that there's, 3 main components here, and one is taxes. I think the reality is that, well, maybe a lot of us sitting here don't have an issue with paying our taxes. I know quite a few people do. The other issue is the people who live right at the entrance of where this is going in. We happen to be some of those people. It's been a very quiet, peaceful road, and we value that highly, extremely highly. And I think it's easy to pin and say that you want this. But if you came out and saw where it is, you would understand. I guess that's, I think we should. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, we just.
Yep. Got it.
Back to online. I'm sorry. Lucas, I thought you were up before. If not, we'll take somebody else next. They're gonna be online. Oh,
Can I get like 10 seconds real quick and then I?
you can have up to 3 minutes. Please go ahead. We need to send something. Oh, 10 seconds. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, you can have 10 seconds. Well, give me just a second. Yeah. We're gonna.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. Sorry. My name is Lucas Taves. I am a former Trumansburg alumni. I graduated in 2022. I was a 3-sport athlete in Trumansburg, baseball, basketball, and cross country. And I was talking to some people in the community about this and some past teammates who feel pretty passionate about this. We are recognized one of the only school districts in the area that do not have a common rec area for other student athletes. Oftentimes we would have to ask athletic director permission either over the summer or on weekends to make sure we can use school facilities. Oftentimes we'd have to travel to distant towns just to be able to hit in the off season or hit over the winter or play during the summers. And I'm also a head coach of the Trumansburg Babe Ruth team here, which is the 18U summer ball team, as well as previously the 15 and 15 and 16U baseball coach over the summers. And just would like to recognize that this is such a great opportunity for both of our younger age and our older age to be able to participate in rec sports here in Trumansburg. Oftentimes it's said a lot in our coaching staffs, and I can speak on behalf of them that we are one of the only schools that has not won a state title, and from the team aspect of things. And as a town, I was able to win the sectional championship in 2022 with my high school baseball team. And just to be able to see the way the town like surrounded us, there was it said about 450 people were at that game. And it just shows the way that this town can surround themselves around sports and can help, like uplift the student athletes that go to Trumansburg. And I think this is a great opportunity to utilize the space and utilize the area for good. And in terms of traffic and in terms of people coming, again, this is a reminder that this is still Trumansburg. Like, this is not a big city. This is a chance for kids to be able to go and enjoy themselves in a way that is fun, but it's also a way to be outdoors. I know, speaking from experience, that alumni who are playing college sports, when they come home, they don't have anywhere where they can participate in an area. This would be a great opportunity for them, opportunity for our rec teams and our summer travel teams to be able to use these fields instead of having to compete with other high school teams that are using the facilities. I don't know. I think it's a great opportunity for the younger generation and the older generations that have graduated, who are still into athletics, to be able to combine and kind of work with each other. I'm still pretty close to a lot of the high school players like Nick Nelson or Ozzie Vogelmore, like all those guys. And like, there's a lot of mentorship that goes on between guys who graduated in 2020 to 2024 with me, and kids who are still in high school and middle school. And this is a great opportunity for that to kind of, we can all learn from each other. And I can't think of a better environment to do that than a rec field that's just outside the school, and a chance for all of us to come together.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you hit your 3 minutes.
That's great.
Thank you for participating.
Thank you.
Is there anybody in person who wishes? Cynthia, please, sorry. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Don Ellis from 35 Bradley Street. I spent a lot of my life dealing with these kinds of things about roads and driveways and zoning and stuff like that. I think any competent town will take care of those issues relative to this proposal. They're not that daunting. They were thinking quite well if the project should go ahead. I'd like to talk about the things that are really important. I'm glad to be following Lucas in that regard, because a couple of things that are very important that have to do with public spaces and sharing public spaces. Two very important values are understanding and resilience. And understanding in particular, as it applies to our times, when there are two things working against understanding. One is that we have well-documented behavior, all of us actually, through the last several decades of being more and more solitary and less out in our communities. And then we have divisive times. And these two factors together create a huge need for understanding. Understanding each other. We need to understand each other. We share tremendous values all through the community. We probably agree on almost everything we could name, but 4 or 5 things. And, we need public places where people come together. And particularly like Father Lucas, because of the places in this community where I see the most coming together of people who might otherwise disagree, it would be sports. Sports at the high school. I don't think anything else compares. That is the outstanding place where people of every ilk and inclination will sit next to each other and perhaps understand each other. Understanding is a really big deal. The other thing that can come from having more public spaces and the opportunity to be out in them and bumping elbows with all of our neighbors and friends is resilience. resilience is a very critical thing in the community. We need to be resilient beyond having a great fire department and great EMS and all of these kinds of services that support us in times of difficulty. But knowing who we are, understanding each other and being in touch, knowing what the resources are among us as people within our community is what I call resilience. And that is a very important value that skills when people come together. So I like very much the idea of a new coming together place.
Thank you. Is there anybody on, I can't see everything. Oh, Sage?
Yep.
Your hand popped up for me. There we go. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Sage Peak and I live on Cold Springs Road. And I'm lucky to find myself as a friend and neighbor of Marvin and Allison Pritz. And I was recalling a conversation that I had with Marvin. I work in a department that supports philanthropy. And so Marvin and I were having this conversation and he shared with me that he wished that one day that he could make a gift that truly mattered. And I loved having this conversation with him. And this is years ago and he probably wouldn't even remember. But then we find ourselves here, and I was reflecting on that today, and here we are on the cusp of them having the opportunity to make a gift that really matters, and we all get to be a part of that. And so I just wanted to invite everybody to think about that, is how can this be part of our legacy that is bigger than any one of us alone, but will help to serve generations to come. And I want to say that I understand and I respect many of my neighbors, their concerns about how the change can affect their daily lives and the character of our road and our community. But I hope that we can find thoughtful ways to listen and address some of those concerns. But I also believe that we must be careful not to let the pursuit of perfection or a unanimous agreement prevent us from moving forward. Progress means being willing to take a chance, even when not everyone sees things the same way. It's about listening, understanding, and still finding a way to move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Cynthia Menino, 124 Tamarack Lane. And so I'm talking about change. I'm in support of the park. It brings change to our community. And change can bring up, you know, in chapters of our lives, change can bring up anxiety. And this is a change in the community. And people can get anxious about it. I live in the neighborhood where the new neighborhood housing is. And people, my neighbors have been very, very concerned. And I listen to a lot of people talk. And they're all legitimate. Oh, we're worried about water. That's real. Flooding the basements. They were worried about too many cars and what the traffic would be. And some people were worried about what kind of people would be moving in. And it seemed frightening. Well, the people who have moved in our neighborhood are people that, a couple of them already, I personally knew them before they moved in there. And the traffic isn't overwhelming. Not everybody has a car. I haven't seen a difference. I live right there. I walk right around. I walk through the neighborhood. And my neighbors who flank the area and my property too has not, they did mitigate. So I agree with what Don Ellis said, that, you know, these things, a competent town board, these important concerns that the community has can be addressed. And there's so much advantage to going forward. I have girls, they're grown up now. One is getting a PhD, the other one is looking at her law degree. Their sports got cut first for practices. That's what happened. And the little kids. So I don't know if that still happens today. But that's what happened. They graduated 2015 and 2017. The fields were too muddy for the practices. So that's just how it worked out. We do need more. And I'm really excited to see the young people on the alums. Thank you.
Is there anybody online who wishes? Vicky. Oh, there we go.
Hello, my name is Max and I live on hobbies to me in Trumansburg. I'm a full support on the town board accepting the Fritz land donation for the future park for me to grow and play in. Thank you.
Anybody in person who wants to take up the presentation?
Kevin Fellows, I live on Podunk Road. I have two safety concerns. The one safety concern is the setback of discharge of firearms from the park. It's my understanding that that would be 500 feet. That 500 feet setback of discharge of firearms would seriously impact 5 major taxpayers that have property adjacent to where the park would be. Marvin being one of them, he would end up with 100 feet with the hunt. So, which borders the Fellows property. The other concern, safety concern, the pathway that has been mentioned several times actually crosses Gigantic Creek and Jenny Creek. Both have serious gorges. They're not passable. It's not a path. It would require 2 pretty serious bridges for that to become a pathway. So those are my 2 concerns for that.
Thank you for the comment. Okay, is there anybody online who wishes to address that?
Yes,
I'm sorry, I can't read your name.
okay,
There
are
we
you
go, yep,
speaking to me?
yep,
Says
yes, I am.
Jay Hart.
Okay, yes, I am with Jay Hart. And Jay, I'm Patty Porter, and we live at 5210 Cold Springs Road. We are the property right next to Marvin's generous donation. And I understand the need for sports facilities for youth. But I think I haven't heard anything from the town saying what they would do to protect the privacy of the properties that are right next to this. I moved from South Hill near Ithaca College to get away from the noise at Ithaca College, all of their sports and all of their parties. And I totally enjoy the peace and quiet that Cold Springs Road has given me. And I realize as soon as this park starts, that will be gone. And I need to know what the town will do to maintain that there is no activity after dusk, that people don't cross our property lines, that the traffic on the road is maintained at a less level. Right now, I think we're a 40 mile per hour, but you can barely walk on the road because people always go over that speed limit. So if you start to add teenagers driving their cars to these events, then you do create a traffic problem. And I don't know what this is going to do to the property value of my house. If other people will want to buy a house that is right next to sports fields. So these are all things that I'm concerned about. And I do appreciate Marvin's offer. But I think we all have to realize it will impact the immediate neighbors. And thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anybody in person who wishes to address?
Here, but
Where's the one? We got a limbo under the wire here.
Well, there, go that way. Let's run it on my way.
Mark Sherman, 5250 Cold Springs Road. I've spoken enough, and they know our feelings. It's easy to say until it's, I won't just say in your backyard, it's right next to your home. And, you know, we all choose to live where we live. A lot of people live in the village, they like it, they like all the motion and the activities. But our homes out there mean just as much to us as your peers do to you. And you can come and drive away, you won't feel traffic. You won't feel being opened up, so you have not 1 inch of privacy around your property, it's wide open. It's easy to say, we need to share, we're not against, I love kids, right? But we also, we're a little park poor, if you ask me. How many places, we've got the Boy Scout camp, the park, Jacksonville, you can use the fairgrounds. What's the matter with doing some repair with the school? There's a lot of opportunities, but like I say, until you really set foot and see, it doesn't affect anybody like it does these immediate neighbors. And I appreciate that.
Is there anybody online who wishes to address it? Come on, video, raise your hand. Oh, Sage, I'm sorry, can I give you another chance?
Okay,
No.
can I just
I'm
ask,
sorry.
though, if there's,
I'm
this
so
is not-
sorry, I really can't open it up to any more comments at this point if you've already spoken. Just as a, yeah, but if you have any further comments, please email Carissa at the first email address.
all right, I'm just concerned people aren't actually living there and saying they live there, but that's okay.
Drop it like a hotspot has a Lindsay award, unofficial award tonight. Please go ahead, drop it like it's hotspot.
I don't know why it says it's Susie. Is that me? Are you asking?
Nope, it's not you.
Oh, sorry.
But drop it like a hotspot, which doesn't get old to say. Please go ahead. and you
Oh
can speak
shoot,
now.
I'm sorry. Drop it like it's hotspot. That's me. I apologize.
Okay.
I couldn't, yeah,
Thanks,
sorry. I'm also cooking supper, which is why I'm online. So there I lowered my hand and I'm speaking. So I'll just take a brief moment to thank you so much for having this comment. Thank you for being available online as well as in person and written comment. And I think that there's some things we all know, but I'll just sum up. Healthy bodies make healthy minds, which makes a healthy community. And we all who come into the village see how many bodies of all ages are in the streets, recreating together, walking, biking, sometimes throwing footballs and baseballs, whether they should be or shouldn't be. So we know there's more need for a space where that can be safely done. We also know traffic is a huge concern. Lighting is a huge concern. Hours of operation are a huge concern for people who live near a potential site of a park. I trust that this board would consider all of that heavily. We know that there's studies available and ways to limit that, and that those address those concerns that have been well brought up will definitely be addressed. And the thing that maybe we don't know is that if I didn't live here in the village where my children can walk to recreate, and we could have all recreated during COVID, I'm not sure we would have made it. So it's important. There's one other thing. I think there's an issue of private property. So I looked to buy land near the National Forest in Hector, where I thought was pretty safe, right? Probably they're not going to turn public lands into private lands. But when you buy property adjacent to private property, you don't know, right? It's not really yours, it's somebody's. And I would be, more willing to live next to a park where the hours that could be managed than lots of other things I could imagine. Thank you for hearing my comments.
Weird.
We lose the feed.
Yeah. Can say we're not hearing them. No.
We can't hear you online.
We've lost you online.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Great. Thank you. We paused it after you indicated. So please go ahead again.
Okay, Annie Corman, and I know I can't always take off one hat and put on another hat, but I'm primarily speaking as a resident here. I bought my house on Swamp College Road. Me and my partner did about 25 years ago. And part of looking at that house was going, okay, you know, looking at a map and going, well, this is privately owned, this is fields, we don't know what could happen there, it could be a development. That turned out many years later, we found out it was leased for fracking. We're glad that people, you know, fought and didn't let that happen. It's also uphill a little bit, so that would have affected a lot of different things, including our well. When I heard about this project coming up, I didn't look where it was at first. And I just thought about, you know, how would it be in that neighborhood over there? And I know it's closer, and I heard a lot of the comments, talked to a lot of people and was going door to door for various things during that time. And people said they wanted it closer to the village. That was the main thing. That's what a lot of people said, not everybody, but that's what a lot of people said. And the people that I talked to, that was the majority of their issues. And so here's a property that's closer. And again, I didn't look exactly where it was until today, right before I came to the meeting. So I looked at the map because I really wanted to just to think about it, hear from people. I was actually hoping it's on this side of Cold Springs Road. I was hoping it was on the other side. It was closer to my house, so that it would be literally in my backyard. I don't know, I'm not trying to judge other people. It's a change. It's a big change. So, and I do trust the town to help mitigate things as best they can. Is it going to be perfect? No, if this goes through, it's going to be a big change. And I just wanted to talk about for a second. When I was in 5th grade, Mr. Nunez, my teacher who was immigrated here from Venezuela, changed my life because every day that if we got done with our lessons in time, he took us out onto the fields and played soccer. Whether it was muddy or snowy or whatever, the boys and girls, we all played together. And that was a huge life lesson for me. There was a lot of crap going on at home. And I think that really saved my life and turned things around. I learned how to be really tough, and I learned how to be a team player. And I think those are skills that I still have. And I'm hoping that as a community, we can also remember that this is one big team and that we can do this together and go forward and make this recreation area a place for everybody of all ages. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody online who wishes to address the town board? Not seeing any hands. Oh, I do see a hand. Alex. Please go
Hello,
ahead.
everyone. Yes, everyone. Yes, I just want to remind the group that that there's no set plans for what this park is going to be yet, and that would require the town to accept the donation, and then from there, the plan would, you know, come to fruition. And so, while people are hopeful for ballparks and soccer fields and football fields, like we just need to come together and figure out what that's going to look like, and then also demand that there, you know, be a fundraising plan and what that looks like, because without the funds, we're not going to be able to build this park. And I know that there's discussion about whether people who don't live there full time should have as much of an opinion as people who don't live there full time. Listen, we overpaid for our house. We brought the value up. We take really good care of the house, and we want to take really good care of the neighborhood. So want to throw that out there as well. We just also want to remind the town that you know, all the concerns of the neighbors, and while we are the most vocal, it is a concern for the people that live there and maybe for the folks that are not as outspoken. And so we just ask for a little bit of compassion and reasoning when it comes to what this park will look like when it comes together. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody in person who wishes to address the town board? Please go ahead. Sorry, that you're up next.
I'm Dolores Higuerita. I live on 35 Bradley Street. And I've been in the town of Ulysses for 30-some years. And so I think the park is a really great idea. I think the park would do a lot, not just for us as a community to have a place to go to that doesn't, don't have to pay a fee to get into the park.
They don't talk about the park they already have on Swamp College.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. We need to take turns. Please go ahead. Amy, please.
And that I would hope that the park would not have a fee here. Yes, it's gonna make taxes go up, but you know, we're talking about someplace for us as families, for our children, to go to have a picnic, just to have fun. I grew up where there was a park and a lake was all together, and we used to go almost every Sunday after church, potluck lunch, great times. This could be the same kind of thing for our families. It could be a park with jungle gyms. I don't know if they allow them anymore. Jungle gyms for kids, swings. You can have picnic tables. There's a bathroom to take the kids to. Maybe there's a ballpark, field, maybe not. Maybe there's a soccer field, maybe not. Those cost money, you gotta do more. What the hell? Get rid of it. Don't do it. Don't do it right away. There's nothing to say that the park has to be built in 1 week. You take your time, you figure out what you want, you get feedback. It can be done in a good way. It can be done in a way to have only hours from 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't. Until, sun up to sundown. I mean, you make the rules, you decide how you want to do it. It's not cut in stone at this point, but it's the kind of idea that our children can have a place to go after school with mom and dad or somebody over to a park and have a good time, and then come back home, and it didn't cost you $9 to get into the Teganic Park. It's not gonna cost you to get into the, I don't know what's gonna happen with the Barton, Boy Scout camp. I mean, what's that gonna be? We don't know if that's gonna be a fee or not. You don't know how that's gonna go. Would it be nice if we could say, our town, we have park. Parks are wonderful for families.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Okay, Ben Darfler, you're up.
Yes, hi, Ben Darfler, Village of Trumansburg, 32 Wig Street. Just wanted to, not much to really add to everything that's been said here. I really appreciate the conversation on both sides. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for the town for all the reasons that we've heard tonight. And I have every faith that this board is up to the challenge of weighing the pros and cons and balancing out the needs of the community with the needs of the residents that surround the park or the potential future park. I look forward to seeing this move forward and us to start that conversation of exactly what this looks like and how we can balance all those opportunities for everybody.
Thank you. Is there anybody online, or I'm sorry, in person who wishes to address the town board? Please come in.
My name's Dustin Vanderzee. I live at 5609 Route 227, so I'm technically not in the town of Ulysses, but I have 2 boys who go to school here, and I have 2 nieces that live in the village that go to school here that are all involved in some kind of sport every season of the year. And I think this would be a great opportunity. I also serve on the Trumansburg Travel Baseball Board, and I hear a lot of talk about, using the school fields, and let's make use of all the school fields. We have the potential for 10 baseball or softball teams this year. and 4 fields to put them on, whether that's U10, softball, baseball, all the way up to 17U, and there just is not enough space at the school to fit all these teams. We're trying to build the programs. There hasn't been much of a softball program here for a lot of years. And I think moving forward, having another space, I know this space hasn't necessarily been deemed for sports fields yet, but given the opportunity, I think it would be a fantastic development for all of the youth. My boys are 11 and 13, and I don't know in the next 5 years whether they'll still be here to see this as kids playing sports, but I hope that, you know, for them as they get older and the younger kids still coming up through that, maybe they have the potential to use a public space like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody online who wishes to address the town board? Yes, Jessica.
Hello, my name's Jessica Valdez Taves, and that was my son that spoke earlier. I think Mr. Vanderzee has been a coach of one of my children for one sport or another. I was at the last meeting to observe what was happening. I live at 39 Cayuga Street in the village. I spent a lot of time out on Cold Springs Road, so because I have friends there. So I'm reiterating all the sports. I can love that. That would be great. We're at a loss. And for example, my son right now his practice was pushed back because there was not enough gym space because of snow today. So, you know, it's a constantly moving force and we go with it. I would like to make a comment on behalf of some other parts of the community that I think would be really supportive in terms of the Lions. I'm an active member of the Trumansburg Lions, and we do a lot for the community, whether it's for individuals or whether it's for large groups. For example, our second annual golf tournament will be to help bring some funds to the Ovid Fire individuals. And so I know that the Lions would want to be involved in certain ways, whether it's fundraising, cleaning, supporting, having a chicken barbecue out there. So I see multiple opportunities. The other part of my world is I'm an occupational therapist and I work with aging adults. I work with folks that want to go to somewhere where they can watch kids play ball, where they can go and maybe walk around and it's not so extravagant as going to Teganic. Half the people I work with that I do rehabilitation with at Cayuga Nursing and Rehabilitation can't go to Teganic. That sounds wonderful, but just to get out of the parking lot into the park or bench is, you know, their day's exhaustion. So a smaller park is something. And again, we live in Trumansburg. I live right in the village. We had Mills Paws right here. It was busy, but you know what? We're respectful in this community. We slow down. We see kids. We see people walking. We see dogs. I mean, I chose to live here. Yes. I have hundreds of dogs that walk by my yard every day. I get it. You give a wave and you go on. So I respect that. Everyone's got their own way of being. But I just really think that this could be really helpful for all of our communities. And I'm fully in support of it and will do what I need to do. And also, now that I think about it, Mr. Pritz also donated his land for my son's graduation. And we had one of the best high school graduations in town. So all around, we're in full support. Thanks for the time, folks.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody in person who wishes to address the town board? Come on up.
Thank you, board, first of all, for taking this on. I know what it's like as a former public official. Oh, I'm sorry. I already messed this up. My name is Keith Hannon. I live at Week Street here in the village of Trumansburg, where I share 2 roads with the school district. So have a little bit of understanding of traffic. Dusty spoke really well, but was wrong about one thing. He called it Trumansburg Travel Baseball. We are now Trumansburg Little League officially. So we are now a Little League town. That happened about 3 weeks ago. So there's a lot of great things that are going to come with that. A lot of hard work went into it. I've worn several different hats since I've lived in Trumansburg since 2016. My day job is I work in philanthropy. And so I can't say enough about how thankful I am to the Pritz family, because it's a tremendous act of generosity. I work in it every day. I see how philanthropy changes lives, and I believe this could as well. So thank you to the Pritz family. I've been a public official, so I completely understand that there's no such thing as a project that I would ever try to convince anyone who lives near that project that they're wrong to be concerned, right? That's totally valid. You didn't choose to live near a project. I would never try to convince you that you're wrong in your feelings. Like what the Pritzes did, I would hope that you would also see your openness or potential openness, even if it's over time. I don't expect it to be immediate or maybe ever. But if it does come, I see that as an equally strong show of philanthropy and sacrifice for your community. I'm a coach. I'm the president now of Trumansburg Little League. So another thing I know is that our youth are in crisis. We have 8 to 12-year-olds averaging 4 to 6 hours of screen time a day, teenagers closer to 9. Right? A lot of this is because they don't have places to go. A lot of times home isn't a good place for my players to be. They need to be on the field. They need to be in the gym. They need to be in a park, right? They need to get away from their screens. It's killing them, literally killing them. Anxiety, depression, self-harm, it's all up because they have nowhere to go. The biggest proponent or opponent of this should probably be Burton Area, because they stand to lose a lot of money from kids hanging out there after school. But as a coach, I know that facilities are a problem. And facilities have a dramatic impact on participation. So if we want to fix the crisis, we need facilities, we need opportunity. And I think this offers a really good opportunity for us as a community to get at the heart of some of these issues. Play me off.
And play, yeah, I don't have my hook today. Thank you. Is there anybody online who wishes to speak? Yep, Susie.
Hi, my name is Susan Thomas. I am a resident of the village of Trumansburg. I am also a school teacher, right now retired and subbing with the Trumansburg School District. So I'm familiar with a great number of the families who reside here, who live here, and try to do their best here. The first thing I want to speak to is, you know, I'm really hearing these concerns of people who live there. And I can well imagine that if a big project were to go up in my space, I would definitely be concerned. I would be worried about privacy. I'd be worried about light. But in talking with Marvin and Allison about this, having known them for decades, I know them to be people of incredible integrity. And what I have heard them say is that it is very important to them that this land be maintained in a natural state. I'm really not seeing this giant sports complex out there. I really don't think that's what we're talking about here. And I also really appreciate who we are as this Trumansburg community. We came together and we built a farmer's market. We have taken care of each other through thick and thin. And this community listens, this community nurtures, we take care of each other. That's how we work. If there are concerns, I really do think they can be addressed. I really see this park as being, yes, maybe there's a soccer field, maybe there's a baseball diamond, but maybe there are also some really beautiful nature trails that are accessible. I heard people discuss, you know, Jessica made a wonderful point about non-ambulatory people, about elder people being able to get out and really enjoy a space. All of this is doable. And we can choose to continue to be a community that says, nope, 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 don't want it. We don't want affordable housing. I don't want this park in my backyard. I unfortunately had to witness one of the towns where I grow up become a community that is pretty much owned at this point by non-resident owners. It's become completely gentrified. Their school district is gone. I don't think any of us want to see that happen. We want the housing, we want parks, we want wonderful places where our kids can thrive, where our adults can thrive. The point about childhood obesity, and will add adult obesity, is an enormous issue.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Is there anybody in person who wishes to address the town board?
Maureen Chalish, 120 Larchmont Drive. I've been removed personally from having to take children to sporting events since our daughters have grown. But I recall one day when they were involved in sports in high school, traveling 100 miles in one day, taking 5 different children, our daughters and their friends, to different sporting facilities outside of this area so that they could participate in sports. It was wonderful to be in the car with them and have that conversation, but I wish that I did not have to travel that 100 miles. I fully agree with everything that Ms. Hanson said about the concerns that the local neighbors have. They're very valid for them and for others in the community. But what I saw happen at the last proposal about the other option for purchasing land, that this town board listened. They listened to the community. They took in all opinions. They brought it to a vote. And they addressed the concerns all along the way, and I trust that they will do that again. It is very important for the health and well-being of everyone in our community to have this. Mostly, I thank the Pritzes for their generosity, their selfless act in providing this space. I don't know if many of you know that they are the ones that contributed and built the labyrinth that is on Main Street. So that there is one other peaceful, quiet place for people to be able to gather. Their intention, I believe, to have this in our community is to bring people together. And they have asked the town board to do everything they can to make sure that it is a place for all and that all feel protected and that they all know that their concerns have been addressed. And I trust that this board will do due diligence again in providing those steps for us, the community, to take part in the decision-making as this process moves forward. I don't believe that this public hearing is the end of that for our participation in this, and I trust that that will continue. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody online who wishes to address the town board? Oh, Nancy, you've already spoken. Oh, sorry, can't come back. Anyone else? Don't see any other hands up, so I'm gonna bump back in online, but if you are back in the room, but if you're online and you have a chance, please raise your hand or come off of so we can see you and you can wave if you don't want to raise your hand. Is there anybody in the room who wishes to address the town board on this matter? Or the hall. Or the hall, yes.
Hi, I'm Jill Strawman, and I lived on 5291 Cold Springs Road. Listening to everybody today, I can definitely hear the concerns and what the kids need. I just don't believe that the location is the right location for our neighborhood. When you see the line that's right next to the Shermans, you're cutting off right against their house. They would be hearing that traffic nonstop. They would have no privacy. We would have definite changes in our neighborhood when we picked to live out in the country. So even though I understand the concern for the kids and I don't want to deprive them, I would wish there was another opportunity for them because I don't believe this is the right answer. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody online? Oh, there we go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Vecca, and I'm at 5270 Cold Springs Road. And, you know, this project is going to run right behind my house. So I'm wondering, are we going to have a vote on this, or is this a fait accompli? Somebody mentioned earlier something about a vote. I think the last project was voted on. Is there a vote that's going to take place on this?
So this is a public hearing for your chance to speak, not for our chance to speak. I will be answering some questions in the next section.
Oh, all right. Okay, well, you know, pretty much as Jill just said, you know, this is really going to impact in a negative manner the whole idea of why I have this house up in Trumansburg. And, you know, certainly it's a generous offer from the Pritz. But I'm just wondering, you know, why there can't be some other place that this might happen. All right, thanks, folks.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody in the room or the hallway who wishes to speak? Please come on up. If so. No one's rushing here. Is there anybody else online who hasn't had an opportunity to speak, who would like the opportunity to speak?
There's somebody.
Yep, okay. I don't see anybody online right now, but Phil, please come on in.
Didn't see, where are we speaking from?
Right. Sorry, you got the cheat sheet.
Just briefly, which first of all, mostly thank you for the gift from Chris. It's an amazing opportunity. I'm definitely in favor of having a park, and having this one looks wonderful. I just want to point out, kind of piggybacking on what Keith was saying, that it's an act of generosity.
So can you say who you are?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Bill Guerin, 56 Elm Street in the Village. And again, it's an act of generosity that everyone came out here tonight and is participating. And I think it's going to carry through whatever process follows. You know, without going too far, right? We live in divisive times, and parks bring people together. It already is here, right? People are participating, listening to each other. That's the good stuff. I think we all know, wherever we've grown up, I'm from Poughkeepsie, New York. And but wherever we come from, we know public parks bring people together. And I think, you know, the gift, the participation, and hopefully when this process is done, there's a place where we can all have community. I think that's all just really a beautiful thing. And you know, I encourage everyone to keep working toward it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody online who wishes to address the town board on this matter? In the room or the hallway, is there anybody else who wishes for an opportunity to speak? Please go ahead.
My name is Jonathan Ferrari. I live in Village of Trumansburg on Cuba Street. There are so many reasons why I'm in favor of this park. I'm a soccer coach with Teaneck Soccer Club, and I can't tell you how many times we've had to cancel practices or haven't had places to play. And sometimes we've had to play in the smallest corners up at the school, even in places that were slightly dangerous. We've had to play at the far end of the outfield when they're practicing basketball or baseball. So it's really been, you know, constrictive of getting kids outside. And and being outside and in their screens. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about. I think the Native Americans in this area talked about looking 7 generations beyond ourselves. And I think that's really hard to do, especially if you're a landowner and you have your own concerns. But public land in this country is a legacy that we all have benefited from when we travel and we go anywhere. Where do we go? We don't go to some private, spot usually. So many people go to public parks, the legacy of our national parks. All of this that the United States has decided as a people is important to us happens at the smaller scale too. And I think that the value of protecting more land that we all can use and our next generation can use and the next generation and the next and the next is invaluable. And I think it is hard to get over personal impact, but we need to be more excited. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody online who wishes to address the town board? Is there anybody else in person who wishes to address the town board? Matter. One last call, online or in person. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody else who wishes to address the town board. I would suggest to the board that we make a motion to adjourn, which is not closing. We make a motion to adjourn the public hearing, and then we can reopen it at our next regular meeting in case anybody else.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for everybody's comments. We did not close the public hearing, it's adjourned. So if you think of something that you want to say after the fact, if other people in the community wish to submit additional information, we can include that. We, as I mentioned before, we have received a number of written comments as of about 6:45 tonight. And they are printed here. Please don't walk out of the building with them, only so we don't have to reprint them. But if folks want to take a gander at them, they're also available for viewing on our website as of the ones that were received yesterday, I believe. And then Carissa will post the newest ones. I think about 9 or 10 came in today. We have received 8 letters of opposition, 76 letters in favor, and then there are 2 additional miscellaneous or live outside of Ulysses comments that were received as well. Those are available. Most of them are available on the town's website now. If you are wanting to receive more information or have more information about this, if you go to the town's website, on the right-hand side of the main page, there's a section right at the top that says current issues. The first item on there is a link to a page that has a great deal of information. It's a potential donation of land for recreation. There are 26 frequently asked questions posted there as well. There's an FAQ document. So that may answer some of your questions, but please feel free to reach out to us if you have more, or again, this will be reopened at our next meeting. The next, I'll go into a little bit more of an update in a bit, but we do need to move on to privilege of the floor. So this is an opportunity for anybody to address the town board on something other than the proposed land donation. Although if you could address the town board on the proposed land donation, similar to the public hearing, you can have up to 3 minutes to address the town board. I will go back and forth in person and online. Is there anybody in person who wishes to address the town board? Please go ahead.
Comment for.
This is general public. Yep, this is general public comment.
Do you want him to come up here? Second.
I'm sorry?
You want him to come up there?
I think so, then it gets recorded. And
see as well as I used to. Ready?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Good evening, Ulysses Town Board. My name is Scott Hoffman. I'm a 52-year resident of the town of Ulysses, living on Route 227. I'm also your neighbor.
Just speak
I-
up a little bit.
Excuse me?
Speak up a little bit.
I was yelling a little bit. I'm also your neighbor. I own the parking lot out back that adjoins your parking lot that you are getting ready to repave. Where do I start? Let's start with a signed encroachment agreement that I have with the town. I'll read paragraph 3. The parties hereby agree that the encroachments may remain in their current location and that neither party shall take any action to remove the encroachments. Each party shall be permitted to maintain the encroachments at such party's own expense. If a party shall ever remove or reconstruct the parking lot, such party shall ensure that such parking lot is constructed solely on the property of such party. Okay, next, let's go to a resolution number 72 of 2021, where that encroachment agreement was resolved by the town board. There's a couple of whereas that I want to bring to your attention. Each party permits the other to continue its encroachment. The next whereas is it is deemed in the best interest of the town to resolve any potential disagreement in good neighborly fashion. That resolution was overwhelmingly voted in favor of by 4 of you board members that are here today. Next, let's go to a special board meeting dated November 6th, 2024. In the notes here, it says that one section of the back lot will be included as an alternate bid. The owner, me, can elect to pave it. If not, it will be seeded and returned to grass. That makes no sense to me. Why would you get rid of 3 to 4 parking spaces that we all share for business here, for my tenants? I've spoken with the excavation company owner this morning. He said it would be no problem for him to cut a line in the pavement and pave your section up to the boundary lines and continue the shared parking lot as it is today. Next point in that meeting was snow plowing. Town Village has plowed the entire parking lot of the town back to the back parking lot onto my property. So piles of snow on my property all winter long. I've never complained about that. I've never complained in the spring about all the debris left behind. I'm being neighborly. All right, in conclusion, there's 2 main reasons why I'm choosing not to repave my portion of my property. First is the cost. When this came out initially, I was quoted $7,500 for 2 to 3 parking spaces. Absurd.
I'm so sorry. Your 2 minutes are up. If the board would like to hear the rest of it, then please go
I
ahead.
only have.
No, go ahead.
Half a page left.
Yep,
here.
that's fine.
After it's been computed, that rose to $12,000. I do not have $12,000 for 2 to 3 parking spaces. Secondly, there is nothing wrong with the pavement on my property. It is not crumbly. It is not filled with potholes. It is completely functional. So why would I spend $12,000 on something that doesn't need to be replaced? I spoke with a local asphalt company, had him come out and look at it over the weekend. He said, there's nothing wrong with this. I would personally state that in my expertise, you've got at least 10 years of asphalt life left back here, given the least amount, little bit amount of traffic that is back there. So let's have some common sense here. Let's leave my space alone. Let it continue to remain functional as it is. Y'all can park back there. I don't care. You have a need for it. I'm busy meeting nights. I have some tenants over here. They've been trying to be respectful. I've told them to park in the back as much as possible. Sometimes there's spaces are occupied. At any rate, thank you very much. And I'm open. If anybody would like to contact me and continue the dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else who wishes to address the town board in public comment? Please go ahead.
It's gonna be real quick. Do you need me to go over there?
Not if you can project. You can project, yeah.
Okay, I'm on the Jacksonville Community Association Board. And so there's, in case folks don't know, there's a small park on Jackson or on Swamp College Road in the hamlet of Jacksonville. And on Saturday, the 19th at 9 a.m., we're going to have a spring cleanup. So we're inviting anybody that wants to come for half an hour, 3 hours, come and help us. I see Nancy Zoller's on there. I don't know if there's any more information I could ask her.
Sure.
About that.
What time?
9 a.m. Is it
Sorry.
9 a.m.? Nancy?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
9 a.m. to 12, there'll be snacks, there'll be identified areas of cleaning up, largely the path around the pond is the primary focus, and some of the other trails, and the area that the small open area that isn't big enough for playing fields will be cleaned up too, in terms of, you know, blow down branches and stuff like that.
Wonderful. That's it. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wishes to address the town board? Either online or in person? Okay, I'm not seeing any more public comments. Move on to municipal board and staff reports, and Annie, can
I'm up again.
I'm pestering you for another update. Thank you.
I forgot to say thank you so much to the board for help with the park all year round with the Jacksonville Park. So I appreciate the town support on that. I have a I don't know if you guys have a place to post in the hallway, but I have a notice about some openings on some county advisory boards. So and you can, okay, I'll just second
Sorry.
what they are. One is on the Tompkins County Public Library Board. I think openings are still open for that. We have a public advisory board that helps with news media and foster civic engagement between residents and government. Pardon me? Oh, great, excellent. And then the last one is for our ethics advisory board. So please help us out if you have some time and have an interest. We also have lots of other advisory boards that have openings throughout the year. And we had one county legislator resign. You might have seen an article in the paper about that. Susan Curry resigned to take the interim position at the Tompkins County Library because the director resigned. So our loss is the library's gain. Susan Curry's was the library director for I think 9 years, and she was also a librarian at other libraries around the county. So we're happy that she's willing to do this while we search for a new director. I think we got a couple of notices. It was later today regarding some work on some of the roads. Let's see. So one that I got was, so April 15th. Let's see, Craft Road from Jacksonville to Willow Creek will be closed from 7 to 4:30.
I just got notification today.
Yeah, so that was later today you got. And then Du Bois Road between Ferry City and Crumbs Corners. And that's on the 16th. That's correct, I believe. And we passed a resolution asking for more accountability with NICEAG because the rates are going crazy. It's not just the rates, but it's also repair of lines. Also their maintenance, they are not keeping up with. They've actually started a new program where they're maintaining less frequently. So that means like cutting down trees and things like that. So they've decided to do that. So we're necessarily going to have more power outages as a result. We've already started seeing in the last couple of years. So we're asking the state to look into NICEAG more. Our February sales tax, would you like those numbers?
Sure.
They were better than what they had been, so that's good. for the county overall, they were up 7.6%. Year to dates up 6.91%. The municipalities on average up 6.68%, and year to date up 8.1%. So that's good. They were starting to slow down at the end of last year a little bit more than usual. So I'm glad to hear the numbers are going up a little bit. One of the residents in the village, I think he lives in the village, I won't say his name, but anyway, he contacted me about the lights over at Milliken Station flashing across. There's a red light now. Flashing, he said it seems like it's directionally right facing this way. And I tried to explain to him it was an omnidirectional light that was put in. So wherever you are, it looks like it's directed right at you. And that's for airplanes. It's an FAA requirement because Milliken Station was, I will say, not maintained for the last few years of its ownership before it was sold. The light had come into disrepair. So now people bought Milliken Station, a new company bought it, and so they put back in the light that needed to be there. So I don't know if you've heard other complaints, but that was information I got from contacting Ruth Croft, supervisor at Lansing. So I don't know if there's anything we can do about it.
Thank you.
Let's see. Let's my place here. We do have some things happening at the airport that are positive, I believe. We started service to Washington Dulles Airport twice a week. We used to have a flight that went there that was pretty well booked up, and so it'll be more often once we get those seats filled. We still have flights daily to JFK, so if you're scheduling something internationally or nationally, look at the airport. At the airport also, they're putting, we have a company, Green Spot, that's putting in 2 electric vehicle charging stations, and they are fast charging stations, 200 kilowatt. So for those of you who have electric cars, I see some of you here that you know the difference, that a slow charger could take you a day and a half to charge your car. A second, let's see, that's a slow charger. So that's a level 1, a level 2, which is similar to what you have out here. Could be maybe 4 or 5 hours you could charge your car. But these faster ones that where they're getting put up at the airport, you could charge your car in generally about 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes if it was really down there, if you really wanted to top it off. So we're glad those are coming in, and there'll be a small revenue sharing, like 5% with the county, but the good thing is they're covering the whole installation, and you do have to pay to get into the parking, but the first 30 minutes are free at the airport. So you could go in and charge, and you just pay for the charging if you get out in 30 minutes, or stay for lunch, or if you're dropping somebody off or something like that. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Any
Thank you.
questions?
No, I was driving down 96 and those lights are a lot brighter. They stand out over at Milliken.
They do.
Yeah, I think they weren't maintained before.
Yeah.
And they did say they put in the least amount, and then I looked it up online. There's different levels of lights you have to put on depending on how various factors, environmental factors, how tall the towers are. And supervisor said they put in the least amount of obnoxious lights.
Yeah.
That they had to put in, fortunately.
They're expensive lights too.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you for checking that down.
Thank you. Committee affairs. Roxanne, did you have anything you'd want to update us on?
This conservation sustainability committee's meeting this Thursday. The primary thing we're working on right now is the Earth Care Day Festival, which is going to be May 4th. It's a Sunday, not a Saturday this year. We want to move it away from Earth Day since there's so many other competing things. We've got a lot of things lined up so far and plenty more. If anybody has a suggestion, just let me know, or somebody you know might want to come. We're going to have a lot of sustainability related things and activities and cleanup, the sports teams and all come. And so if you have any thoughts of anything that you'd like to do, or someone would like to be represented,
let me know, information for people. The Drinking Water Source Protection Plan Committee is still working on that. We had, a little bit of a slowdown with our, technical helper person who had some budget issues they had to deal with. But, for their job overall, but that's all settled and we're definitely getting there and the board will get that soon and everyone will be glad to have that. For you guys to look at that and then move it on. I attended the annual, once a year, the Columbus County Ag and Farmland Protection Board has a meeting, and about anything agricultural, they choose a focus usually. And this year it was on solar and development of solar and, things for farmers and ag landowners to think about and municipalities to think about. It was really well attended. There's, they just sent the whole slide deck for all the talks, which I have, if anybody wants it, or I'm happy to fill people in on it later. Definitely it was brought up again that there's been a bunch of changes, and so our solar law is pretty old now, and so we should have another look at that, and that's actually been something that's been on the CSAC's list of things to do. Terry Carroll reminded me of that like probably 2 years ago now. So, it's, yeah. And CSAC actually helped rewrite parts of that after a planning board issue. So we could, we could revisit that and bring some of it to the board if that's what you'd like. Yeah, so, and I met with the fellow who's working on for Tatum, doing the evaluation of the energy use in the buildings and helped him. He had a whole bunch of questions that I could answer since I have been connected to all the parts of this over time. And so hopefully we'll get his word on that soon. He said they have some contacts at NYSEG. The town had already made some contacts at NYSEG, so he was hopeful he could get an answer. And he understood the, prioritization levels that we had for why we need to know that versus the overall energy use issues in the buildings. Anyway, that was it. There's things our committees have been working on. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Just one thing, the planning board submitted a bunch of questions to Nate in November regarding streams and stream issues. And we talked to him about 3 weeks ago and he said he was going to have us a response for our April 1 meeting. That didn't happen. So anything we can do to encourage him to get feedback both on the wetlands and the streams, because as the comp plan starts getting the chapters, it's going to become more important that we have them. Thank you.
Sure, I will follow up with him on that. Thank you. Any town board members with any updates that you'd like to share?
The comp plan steering committee, thank you for those of the town board that participated in Carissa in the second visioning. We're getting close to a visioning statement. I'm kind of excited to see what MRB comes up with next in terms of combining the two vision statements into one and bringing the good parts from both of them and seeing how that comes out. But we closed the survey and we had 369 surveys returned to us on the comp plan. So we were hoping for 1,000, didn't quite get there. We were really wishful thinking, but I'm pretty happy about the 369. And Angelina had showed a stat, and when we get all the surveys, they're still going through and compiling all the data, especially from the ones that were filled out by hand. But she indicated that this was one of the surveys from one of the municipalities that she's worked on that had such a youth participation. So we had pretty even numbers. Usually the sliver in the pie chart for those who participated is a lot of the older generation and the middle generation, and then the lower generation is small. But through some efforts of some of the high school students and teachers, I know the survey was passed out through the high school, and each class had an opportunity to fill one out. So I'm very grateful to the high school and those individuals. I won't name you on purpose, but I've talked to you before, so that we can hear their voices as well. But we should be starting to see drafts next month. So hopefully we're kind of in the long run of the comp plan.
And we had around high 70s, maybe 80 attend.
Yes.
And not everybody signed in, but we had the open house. It was well attended.
Right.
So that was, they collected a lot of information there, and that'll be shared back out also.
Mhm.
Yeah. A lot of work. The chugging along.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then youth commission, we'll talk about later, but there's gonna be a recommendation for a new rec specialist. And what else do we have from our meeting? We talked about the last time camp sold out in 28 minutes. We're gonna have to figure something out.
Yeah, I'm actually meeting with the superintendent tomorrow, to see what more can be done to meet the overwhelming need in our community that was demonstrated, not just in that, but that we're hearing directly, and, you know, we might not be able to solve every problem this year, but we can start chipping away at it, so I'll be meeting with her tomorrow, start doing that. Yeah, I was on those committees also. Any other committee updates? Three Falls, but Mary, go ahead. You've got neat stuff going.
Recreation Partnership met.
Oh, nice.
For the first time this year, and came out with the registration summary for 2024. So Ulysses looks like they took advantage 4% of the programs that were offered in terms of cash park admissions for lap swim, pool admissions, lap swim, and ice rink. 1,338 people from Ulysses took part. I can send you these.
Great, yeah.
It has like all of the different activities. There's cross country, dance, pottery, theater, fishing, flag football, lacrosse. It's quite a impressive array of stuff that they offer. Hotspot, you know.
Yes.
So I'll send this out to the board.
Great, thank you, Mary.
And then I just wanted to say that the B committee met, and we're planning to have a speaker at the library on May 4th, May 9th. Brian Danforth, who is a specialist in ground nesting bees. So hopefully it can generate some interest in attendance for this topic.
Nice. Make sure Carissa has it right.
Yeah, I'll make
perfect.
sure.
Awesome, we'll get it broadcast. Cool, awesome, thank you. We had a Three Falls meeting. It was fairly brief. Because we are largely just waiting on New York State to, you know, let us announce it, and they announce it and give us a name, and, you know, important things. But yeah, it's largely in state parks hands in terms of management. We're just kind of waiting for the baton to be passed effectively. So anybody else have an update they want to share? Okay, let's move to potential park donation update. Chamber's not taking any action tonight, but I just wanted to give you an update. We have now received feedback from all the interested agencies on the FEAF environmental form that we reviewed. The planning board caught some few tweaks, but nothing. BZA didn't make any comments. County didn't make any comments. Everybody was fine with the town being lead agency, so we can eventually proceed to formalize that. We will not be doing that tonight. And we'll review that at a future meeting. As I mentioned previously, there are on the webpage dedicated to this. All the public comments we've received in written form are being posted there. There's a frequently asked questions document that goes into, you know, some more specific detail about the proposed donation, where it's located, things like that. I do want to respond to the one question that Mr. Becca had specifically about, will there be a public vote? This is addressed directly in the FAQs, but the New York State gives us our powers for the most part, and they specify what we are allowed and not allowed to do in terms of holding public votes on any number of issues. And the way the public law is written, New York State town law, they specify that if the town is going to go to a purchase and potentially build a building and all of these things, then a public vote can be triggered. It's called permissive referendum. The public has an opportunity, a window of opportunity of about 30 days in those situations to submit a petition. And that's the process we went through in 2023, because at that point, the town board was proposing using public funds to purchase property. In the situation of a donation for recreation purposes, a donation of land for recreation purposes, the state law does not give us permission to submit it to permissive referendum, which means the town board doesn't actually have a legal mechanism to send it to the public to a vote specifically on this issue. That's largely why I think it's really important to have public hearings. I think it's really important that we've been taking to do this. We're not taking any action tonight. I will say that I really want the public to share their opinions for folks who have concerns, whether you live in the neighborhood or not, to share those concerns. And this is the ongoing process by which to do this. I think the other part that is also important to reiterate is that the town board is not considering any specific development at this time. The proposal of the donation is in fact for recreation in the future, but we are not considering a particular plan. At the last town board meeting, the town board authorized the submission of an application to Cornell's Design Connect program. If the project is selected, it could give the community an opportunity to start collecting that specific feedback if the town board does decide to accept the donation and go through that process. But at this point, we're only considering the donation and proposed subdivision of a particular piece of land. There's no specific development plan that is in place, and the process would be to engage the community in a robust opportunity to submit their thoughts, their perspectives, their concerns, of things they would want to see or not want to see, and how they would want to see it developed. I have no doubt, given the energy we've seen in public engagement at this point, that we would have, I believe, a very, very engaged public in that process as well, if the town board gets to that point. We are not at that point tonight. So moving forward, I think we're going to reopen the public hearing next at our next meeting. Make sure, members of the public who didn't have a chance to speak tonight or submit a letter can have more time to do that. And I can let you know too that I have started conversations now with property owners whose property is adjacent to the proposed donation. Spoken to 2 of them so far now, and
How many are there altogether?
About 7, 6 or 7, I think is the right number. Liz has been in one of the conversations. Scott Stewart joined us for one. And so I'm going to be reaching out and at a time when we can all be together to offer it to that opportunity to the rest of the neighbors, to talk specifically about their mitigation concerns, and what things the town could explore if the land is accepted, that we could consider doing that would be respectful of their privacy and be respectful of their personal space, and also find a way to thoughtfully integrate a potential park into the neighborhood if it is accepted. So I think it's important that they hear and the public hears that those things matter, those conversations matter. Any questions from the town board? Okay.
Do we think just on the FAAF, when do we think we'll be going through that? The next meeting or more likely the beginning of May if we're keeping the public comment open?
I think that's most likely gonna be at the beginning of May. I don't think that we're gonna be ready. I think giving the public a bit more time. Is good and, yeah.
Okay. Nope.
But I would look to that probably potentially the first meeting in May, which I believe is May 13th. Any other questions?
Yes, me too. It's on our agenda.
Yeah, it is. It's on there. Okay. Next item of old business we have up is relating to the zoning request for Development District 3. You did receive some information in your packet. We're not delving into this tonight. But many thanks to the planning board for reviewing this request. You'll remember that the zoning, the town board referred this matter to the planning board for consideration. The planning board met and reviewed it. We've received a memo back from our planner. We have the resolution from the planning board in the packet, and the planning board is recommending reclassification to residential. The next step on this would be for us to internally begin to prepare the documents for the board's consideration on that. Yeah.
So it looks like there were 6 votes. There was 4 ayes, 1 nay, and 1 abstention. The situation on that is Mo Klein had missed 2 or 3 meetings when we were discussing it. So he's the abstention. So we had our alternate as an active vote just for that specific item. So the abstention was Mo Klein, one of the regular board members. So does that mean that there's still 6 votes, one of which is an abstention? Shouldn't there only be 5 votes,
I could ask legal.
right?
Yeah.
So I think we just need to remove the abstention then. I think you need to.
Or remove
the
the alternates vote.
You remove the alternates vote, then 4-0, 1 abstention. I think that's legally how it should go. But we should check.
I will talk to our town attorney about that because that is a very fair question. I have to talk to him about his questions from the planning board, so we'll add that to my list.
We're not voting on this.
No, we're not taking any action tonight. The next step would be for the town board to review proposed legislation. This would, if the board decided to go through with it, this would effectively eliminate Development District 3. It would cease to function. What the planning board is proposing is residential, and so if they're
What are we gonna vote on?
the legislation hasn't even been drafted yet. So I would imagine we're not looking at this probably until May at this point.
That's a pretty radical change.
It is.
It's because it's surrounded by ag land.
Well,
It's,
Ag rural.
yeah,
There's residences right along
Halsey-
Halseyville.
There's residences on Halseyville.
I mean, it's in the ag rural
yeah,
district,
that
but
doesn't border it though.
but borders part of the road's on Halseyville. Part of the property's on Halseyville. DD3, it's Barangas.
Yeah.
So the back end is Halseyville.
Yep, those are ag. It's ag district.
No, I know, but I'm saying the use.
Yeah, there's a houses there.
Yes, the
There's
uses
lots of
are there.
houses in the ag district. What I'm saying is it's a radical change. Because residential is very small lots.
Mhm.
And so the part of the reason for that was on-site based disposal systems and punching wells.
Mhm.
And the hub would allow them to punch essentially too many wells in the area. So that's all I'm saying is it's a to go from.
Say that again about punching wells.
Yeah, the lot sizes for residential is way smaller than lot sizes in the ag district.
Right.
Part of the reason for that was to keep the density down.
I think the memo goes into that about why they recommended the residential. Kind of fits with the character of the road. I understand what you're saying about the rural versus residential zone, but I think the planning board addressed.
They didn't say anything about, most of the residential is in water districts. So everything
No.
down Cold Springs Road,
Not on Halseyville. There's no water district on Halseyville.
I'm saying that's why it's ag.
Right.
It's an ag district, but it keeps the lot sizes much bigger. Yeah.
I get it.
So you're saying if you have more density, you'll have more, because there's no water, then we'll have to have more wells.
Yeah, well, that's the reason for the much of the ag district anyway, because the lot sizes are bigger with the ag district.
Yeah.
Keeps the density down.
Right.
So all I'm saying is it's a very big change to go from what it is to a residential zone. If you look at the residential zones on the map, it more or less follows the water district.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we have to look at it when we get all the information in front of us. Is the developer gonna come back in front of us? I would assume so. Is there a public hearing for that? Sorry.
Yeah, you have to do a public hearing on it because it's a law change. The law changes require public hearings.
So we'll probably be, if it comes in front of us with the proposed legislation in the beginning of May, we probably would be looking at a public hearing at the second meeting in May.
It depends when
Potentially.
the board's ready to you take draft legislation to a public hearing, so you'd have to, a majority of the board would have to be comfortable with the draft legislation before we can send it to public hearing. Otherwise, you just have to go back and redo it after the
Right.
public hearing.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense.
Keep the newspapers in town going, with our notifications. Print. Okay, moving on. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
New business?
Yep, new business. Next up is the recreational activity specialist. This is the position that it does seem like a misnomer in name, but bear with us because it is impossible to, we would have to actually create a new civil service position, and do not get me started on how long that takes. It has to run all the way up to Albany for approval. So the recreation specialist position is our youth services position. Lucky Lucas was recommended by the youth commission to fill this role. We had an interview team, multiple interviews, checked background, and I have a lot of confidence in his ability to do the job. And so this resolution appoints hires Lucky Lucas to serve as the town's recreation activity specialist at a pay rate of $23 an hour for up to 19 hours per week, effective April 21st, 2025. For the results of the probationary period for this position will be 6 months. So I will move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Just as further comment on this, this is within the existing budget. It'll be great to have someone involved because Rachel has been primarily running the lead on high school students and has been bringing in folks from the outside to run kind of some specialty classes, opportunities, including a cooking class that happens today and will happen again next week. But no, not today. Sorry, not today. After spring break. Starting the 22nd, I think, and the following week. But it'll be great to have somebody actually be able to have consistency. So, any questions about that? Okay, there's a motion and a second. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Thank you. Next up is the appointment to the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. We have 2 vacancies currently on the Comp Plan Steering Committee. Right now, we lack representation from the Board of Zoning Appeals. We invited the Board of Zoning Appeals when we got going, but there was nobody on the board who at the time. We have not filled the permanent position now. We're advertising.
Yeah.
But this, Kim Moore is currently an alternate on the Board of Zoning Appeals and is willing to fill the position here. And we have not been able, even though we've advertised, we've not been able to find, and I now think that we should probably amend this in the resolution as well. We've not been able to find anybody to serve as a village representative. We do have a business owner whose business is in the village, who is currently serving on there. And I would suggest converting Allison's position to a village representative. I mean, she's a property owner in the village. She, very connected to the village, and appointing Karen to a community space. So Karen Meter is currently on the planning board and is willing to serve on the comp plan steering committee. And I think that there's a lot of value to having folks that are serving on a planning board in the BZA being involved in the comp plan process, because they ultimately become the ones who.
We already have Mo.
We have Mo and we have Carl.
Right, so you want 3?
It's really at the board's, discretion at this point.
I think they each bring their own, I mean, besides being on the planning board, they each bring their own kind of insight from different backgrounds.
No, it just seems.
I mean-
Like 3 town board member, I don't know, seems a little.
3 planning board members.
Yeah.
We definitely don't have 3 town board members, so.
No.
It's totally at the discretion of the board. So.
Didn't Kim get voted on as a full-time? No?
No, she's an alternate.
I thought she got.
No, it's just for temporarily at the meetings, but she's not been
She's a
appointed to a full.
BZA alternate,
Yeah, she's a BZA.
and then she's on the steering committee.
Not yet.
No.
We have to appoint her.
So she could serve as a representative back and forth.
There is nobody on the BZA
Right.
currently on the comp plan. I mean, it's kind of hard. We don't have volunteers. We can't force people to volunteer.
It's up,
I'm in favor of Kim, but then with Rich, the 3 planning board seems like pretty heavy.
Karen would be. Which role would she fill?
we would have to adjust it to make it a community slot, because we haven't been able to, but then, fighting, and Michael, you helped me. Although Kim could have filled the business slot, but she can't also fill the BZA slot then. But
Kim is on the planning board or the BZA?
No, BZA.
And she's a permanent member.
no,
No.
she's an alternate member.
I
of the
thought she was,
BZA.
but she was.
Who is?
Kim Moore,
No, I'm talking about.
Karen.
Karen is a full.
Right, but she doesn't want to be on the,
She's a planning board member and.
no, as a BZA member.
Oh, so then we have 2 BZA and 2 planning board.
With Karen is BZA.
Is Karen on the planning board?
No. It's on the
Oh,
BZA.
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
on the
scaring it up.
BZA.
I'm sorry, I'm
Come on.
conflating your boards, I've been in front of so many.
All right, so then we'd have 2
You're all
BZA and
It's
2
on the
planning
BZA.
board.
Thank you. Yes,
Thank
you're
you,
right,
No,
son.
You only want 1 BZA.
Well, maybe Kim Moore could be the business.
I mean, but she's on the alt. She's the alt BZA.
she could be business also.
Well, how far along are you with the job?
We're about to start reading drafts. So we need people who have,
Reviewers.
we need reviewers with different mindsets on different aspects of the community.
Are you okay with having 2 BZA members? We have 2 planning board members. Thank you for clearing that up. I'm very tired tonight. So now how are we feeling? Are we feeling,
Right.
okay, so I'm gonna move this, and Chris, I'm gonna have to correct a little bit on the fly to make sure that we fill our slots correctly. Resolved, that the Ulysses Town Board appoints the following persons to the Ulysses Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee.
Steering, isn't it?
Yes, and steering committee, yes, thank you.
But it says advisory committee.
Yes, but it's actually the steering committee, so we
Steering
just, typo, not typo, but. error.
They don't advise, they steer.
They steer.
They're more in charge than you think.
I wish.
So, Kim Moore to fill the business spot. And Karen Meter to fill the Board of Zoning Appeal spot and to relocate and be it further resolved that we're reassigning Allison Weaver from the business slot to the village representative slot. Now we have a full we have now a full steering committee. So that's just to present the position. So I moved that. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Sorry for the confusion I brought to this situation.
Allison's moving from what position?
She's moving from business to village.
Business, okay. Cool. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. And then we come to, I did not print out copies for everybody, but it was in the packet. The citizen pruners contract, the citizen pruners program was run last year through Cornell Cooperative. The village is going to be discussing whether or not they want to contribute half the funds at their next, unfortunately, at their next next village board meeting, which typically that meeting happens the night before ours, but the way the April schedule fell, their first meeting of the month is next Monday. So the budget for this year would be $2,450. The town budgeted in the tree committee, we budgeted to pay for half of it. I did forward along Marissa Nolan from CCE, who's also on CSAC. She let us know participants last year, they did about 4 sites in the village, or not in the village and town, 2 in the town, basically, and 2 in the village. They had 10 volunteers participate last year. So I'm bringing it tonight to see what the thoughts are on the board. I don't know if any of you emailed her directly with any questions. I thought you'd be interested in what locations they worked in, how many people participated. So those are the questions I asked in advance. I knew that it was going to probably be late tonight, and I didn't want to have somebody have to wait for a presentation. This is
He's right here.
If you have any questions.
I'm sorry, Lauren. I've spoken to you by email, but I don't think we've ever been in the same room together, or very often at least. So there you go. Did any of my board members reach out to you?
No, that's why I thought I should probably show up.
Thank you.
We don't know if the village is contributing.
We don't at this juncture. Ben Carver, who I know that you were reaching out to multiple times. I also did reach out to multiple
I
times.
also reached out.
Mary
I got
also
the same answer you did. So.
Okay, yeah, well, I finally pigeonholed him in person. No criticism of Ben, I don't mean it that way. But that's what he, so I don't know. At this juncture.
Are they taking it up with the?
Yeah.
Yep.
Next Monday.
So I work at Cornell Cooperative Extension in Tompkins County. I run the horticulture department. And so I ran the volunteer organization and did the education to teach people how to prune last year. So this is briefly like a program that's been going on in Ithaca for more than 30 years. Last year was the first year that we expanded outside Ithaca to USC Central Spring. And so we have every year, there's always an education about pruning in the spring. The first one is next week. And we are hoping to get some even more volunteers for continue to build up the volunteer force in this area.
I think so. Yep, thank you.
Yeah, and I can also say that if the village is unable to commit some funds, we can also just talk about essentially capping the amount of work days, because it's really the money is going into my time. We get the tools by the City of Ithaca allows us to use them for free. So there's no purchase of tools necessary. And the sort of representative from the municipalities is already from the town anyway, so we wouldn't need additional support from the town
in terms of personnel. So that's an option that we can go with as well, is we could essentially just have some less work days, to kind of reduce the burden of my time, and then obviously we would only be working on town property instead of town and village.
I think that's a reasonable middle ground.
Yeah.
I don't know how you work that into risk.
Distributing what we did last year, if the village comes along, they come along.
Sure.
You're not sure if the village is coming along? Is that
No.
what you said?
No, they haven't discussed it. They're not discussing it till next Monday.
Which is too late.
Well, for the
So you're
first
starting
one.
this week?
It's not too late. The education series that we have is open to anybody, no matter what. So we get people from across the county, from outside the county that come to our programs. They're available in hybrid too, so people don't have to come to Ithaca if they're not, able to, or would prefer to not. So, and I did see that there is a poster out there about it, so I do know that the town has been kind of spreading the word about that, in preparation that this might continue to go on. So, I think what would happen is that we wouldn't do a secondary series of trainings, which is what we did last year. We did that in August, just to again, kind of reduce the amount of time, and also then we could get people started sooner, because I wouldn't be able to do a whole second set of training in like May.
All right,
So I'm not sure what we're doing,
we're
so,
approving the amount of money we spent last year. For half, she's gonna spend half the time. Right, and if the village comes along, then we'll have more time.
okay, so, Chris, I'm gonna make up a resolution on the fly. Resolved that the town of Ulysses, board approves spending $1,225, for,
Is it that much?
the contract for this year is $2,450. So half of that would be us.
Okay.
$1,225, for services related to the Citizen Pruners Program. And be it further resolved, that the Ulysses Town Board authorizes the town supervisor to enter into a contract, with, Cornell Cooperative Extension, for the Citizen Pruners Program after decision on, what date is next Monday? Their decision by the April 14th by the Trumansburg Village Board about whether they want to participate in the program in 2025. So then I think that will give me just the ability, so Nate's reviewed it, she doesn't have any legal concerns, so I can sign it based on what the village agrees to, and we'll just have to change the numbers.
And so moved.
Okay, is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Well, thank you very much that's really yeoman's time. I'm glad your commute isn't terribly long. So, because it is late. And thank you for all that, information and the presentation.
Great. Yeah, and if you do have any follow-up questions afterwards, Caitlin did give you my email. You're not allowed to no longer talk to me. You can reach out, and I can respond. And we did talk about having a presentation in the fall, right at the end of the season, and and go along. We're gonna talk about kind of some of the stuff. By then, we'll know if we got the core grant, which would be really exciting. And then this is a great group of volunteers that would help us out with that a lot. So
Awesome.
it's
wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, that's us for new business. Did you want me to say anything, or did the town board want to say anything in relation to Mr. Hoffman's? Or,
Well, I mean, he's proposing he doesn't do anything, he leaves it, right?
effectively,
And what we're proposing is, well, we were gonna use this asphalt.
Well,
Asphalt.
it's, so. And the encroachment agreement. Part that wasn't mentioned is that the encroachment agreement identifies
the asphalt is belonging to the town of Ulysses. And the staircase is belonging to Mr. Hoffman's property. And the agreement also says that we have no interest in each other's property. And I'm paraphrasing, I don't have it right in front of me. The town board has entered into a contract. The design work was done by Barton and Judas. We have a contract. The pre-construction meeting is this Friday. The work is slated to begin this month, weather dependent. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as just cutting pavement and just everybody walking away. We have an encroachment agreement in place. And this would be in violation of that. We would.
Is the agreement signed between us? Is that?
So the property was sold in 2021. In order to be sold, when the property was getting ready to be sold, there was a survey done. And that's when it caught this issue. And as part of that sale, we signed an encroachment agreement with the previous owner. And that is connected now to both properties. And that it is recognized that a town-owned asphalt, so it's a town asset. And the town board has already made a decision related to it. The other thing I would say is that myself, Scott Stewart, Alex from Barton and Judas, Nate, our town attorney, sat down with the 3 property owners in late September. I think it was either the 26th or the 27th of September of last year, laid out the plan that we were proposing at the time, which is the current plan. And the property owners were at that point given very preliminary numbers about what Barton and Judas thought the cost could be, right? Those aren't fixed prices, right? It had to go out to bid. And, what we said is each of those property owners had the opportunity, if they wanted to, we could bid it out for them to participate. These 2 property owners, Low Soft Water and the barn, were not interested at all in it, so we didn't bid out that. We did include an alternate bid that included the repaving of the very rear parking lot asphalt that's back there. And that was referenced tonight and what the price came back at. Property owners also have the opportunity, if they wanted to repave their own property. And my understanding as of today is that our neighbor on Elm Street is going to be repaving. They've hired their own contractor, and that work might even start before ours. So that's what their property decided to do. We don't have an encroachment agreement with them. But this is kind of where we are. And at the end of this month, Blixie will need to do our final reporting on our ARPA funding. And that reporting, all of our encumbered funds have to be reported in that process. So that was the whole point of getting to a contract in December before the end of the calendar year. So that's kind of unfortunately where we are.
So can we give them the asphalt?
No, I mean, it's not a simple process for us. We're actually prohibited from just gifting something.
No, but just say wherever the property line is, saw cut it and just say, if he doesn't want it seeded or whatever, just saw cut it and leave it alone. Is that an option?
It's not a clear option when you have an encroachment agreement in place. I've spoken to Nate, and if the board would like an advice and counsel session, you don't have to take it from me. You can hear it directly from him. We would have to go through a legal process to change our encroachment agreement. So we would need to spend attorney time on that. We would, there'd be costs associated with it to the town, to the public, to the taxpayer. So could we have explored that as a possibility? I would have said that if we had had that conversation in October of last year, that would be a much more reasonable time, which was the whole point about trying to be good neighbors. That's why we met. That's why we paid attorneys. We paid our attorney, we paid our engineer to sit down last fall. And our options at this juncture are far more limited because of the timeline we have to work on. So that it's not truly, if it was my property and your property, that's a different situation. If it was our personal property, it makes it more complicated. as a public asset on a public property and going through an appropriate process.
If we just go ahead and do what what we've agreed to do, what does that leave this guy Scott left with?
He's left with the land that he owns and the part and the staircase that he owns.
So what is our job at this moment?
Well-
In terms of forwarding the action, do we have to do anything?
Forwarding what action? I mean, we're locked, I mean,
Well, we're gonna get it.
doing nothing tonight means we're just gonna continue down the pathway of we have a contract.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll
that's-
pull up this
yes,
paving.
that's what
and
the
reseed the,
Yes,
his part of the parking lot.
because for an unknown reason, when the last time the town board did, you know, and this is years ago, this is way before anybody on this board, we paved onto somebody else's property.
Right.
I don't know why we did, we shouldn't have.
I have information about that if you're interested in hearing it.
Sure,
So Mr. Hoffmeyer, who owned the property before me,
right.
Mr. Ostick, who was the town supervisor, and Mr. Meeker, who was the highway supervisor, had a conversation. They were paving out back. There was extra asphalt left over. They asked Mr. Hoffmeyer, "What, we're just gonna pave the whole thing." Mr. Hoffmeyer said, "Great, appreciate it. Thanks for being neighborly." And in response to that, "I'm gonna pay a plow back here." So Mr. Hoffmeyer repaid the town by plowing. Eventually, plowing got too expensive. Mr. Ostick said, "Thank you so much for plowing all these years. We're gonna have the town guys do the plowing and the village guys." So it was kind of a one hand washing the other kind of. I'm not saying get rid of the encroachment agreement. I'm saying leave the asphalt there, keep the encroachment agreement the way it is. We'll all get along just fine.
You're saying we can't do that because we'd be gifting something of value that we can't do.
The
Well,
encroachment agreement specifically says to take it up.
Well, the encroachment agreement specifically says it's our property.
Right.
It's when I say
It's
our, I mean the
still
town's
your
property.
The asphalt is.
The asphalt is the
Asphalt,
town
not the
property,
land.
which means if it continues to be the town's property, it continues to be our liability.
Right.
And the we unfortunately, I mean, it's town-owned property. And cutting it off and leaving it a town asset for continued private use when we're in the process of repaving our entire parking lot.
But if it's town-owned property, why can't we pave it?
The asphalt is town property. The land underneath it is not.
It's-
So we can't repave it. It says specifically in the encroachment agreement that if we repave, we only repave on our property. And, you know, the town was very clear to say, we're not paving somebody else. We're not using public funds to pave somebody else. So
We're not paving, but I would think that if it's a quick decision, they could, you know, saw cut the thing and then Nate could work on something that says okay, it's your asphalt now or something. That seems like it ought to be doable.
So do you want to spend public money to gift something? And I'm not comfortable gifting.
So we can't get.
Because
Kind of already given her.
Grass.
What, we would gift?
What?
Yeah.
Say that again?
If you're gonna gift any dirt and grass.
we don't have to. I mean, per the contract, that's what we're doing, but I mean, if you don't have to gift you grass seed and dirt, if there's a preference not to, I mean. I think it was, the intention in that was to return it to a,
Previous state before it was paved. The asphalt was gravel driveway parking. So the variance needs to go back to that state, not grass that's unusable to. For parking.
and
But the town, so the town's,
Seems to me it was
Pays for
gifted
gravel.
when it was paved, or if that's the case.
It was gifted when it was paved the first time. you
but
know.
it
but it's
wasn't.
not legally.
In the encroachment agreement, it specifically states that is town property. The asphalt is town property. So it's not been gifted.
No, before that. before the encroachment agreement, when they had this deal.
Maybe so, but the previous property owner also signed a contract that specifies that he at the time recognized in 2021. That he recognized it was a town, that he wasn't accepting it as a gift. So. I think this is a pretty knotty situation, that it's not as easy just to throw a contract together. It would have to go back through the town board. We're in this Friday, we're in construction. This is, I mean, and this was actually frankly, the whole point of having a meeting in September.
Right, which you didn't, you didn't attend.
No, he attended.
You were there.
I was there.
Yeah, and we had our engineer there and we had Nate there and. You know, there were questions that came up about the interpretation of the encroachment agreement. And Nate explained our interpretation, and as Nate will always do, is suggest that if you disagree, talk to an attorney. I mean, he's our attorney. And that we followed his legal advice.
My attorney that's contacting your attorney.
That was great.
So
Currently,
on that page,
currently, or?
yes.
Well, maybe the two attorneys can work.
I don't
something
really
out.
want to get it to the attorney level, but.
Yeah, I would think they, I mean, it doesn't feel to me like that big of a deal.
Doesn't seem like a big deal, but I can understand it.
Lawyers-
Legally, that's a big deal. Legal always brings in complications that
So-
sometimes are useful. Sometimes.
I mean,
I think
it
the
seems to
lawyers
me
need
if
to
they could
talk.
work something out, I would be in favor of it. Swear.
Just knowing that the pre-construction meeting starts on
Friday.
Friday.
And the attorneys are not, our attorney is not authorized to make an agreement, like we have to make an agreement and our
I think
next
it'd be
town board
worth
meeting.
having,
Special.
So I'm gonna be out of town Wednesday through Friday next week. So it's spring break, so I'm,
In all fairness, I'll be out of town next.
Well,
so,
that doesn't help us.
Well, they could start paving
we're
without
gonna,
having a resolution.
no, because
No.
everything gets pulled up.
right. They're gonna rip everything up that they need to before they start paving and laying any of the footers and lines and whatnot, so we're gonna
Nate
come in
suggested
once.
we do what? Just continue.
Well, at this point, I mean, Nate's gonna take our direction. I mean, our conversation has been, you know, that this is really late in the game.
Right,
And that's part of the problem. It's, this would have been a lot easier to explore 6 months ago. And it's hard to do this on the fly. Butting up in a pre-construction meeting in
Right.
3 days, so. And the town board would have to consider too. You know, I would imagine it's gonna take several hours of legal time. That's not an insignificant amount of money.
shouldn't take several hours. Right, I think if I don't know.
Well, I think the encroachment, any modifications to the encroachment would probably take some hours.
Yeah, so,
But if there can be at least an initial discussion and then Nate reports if we have a special meeting. Just see if there is something we can resolve, maybe we can. Come to a resolution this week, but it doesn't sound like timing is really in anybody's favor for making any changes right now.
Well, it sounds like your attorney's contacting ours, so I'm sure I'll get an update. I spoke to Nate today and there hadn't been any conversation yet, but. I did provide Mr. Hoffman with Nate's contact information.
Well, I mean,
My attorney needs to. Roseman, familiar with. Nate. So. They're really having conversations.
That's what they're good for. That's exactly when you start getting into legal interpretations.
Roxanne, did you have something to say on this?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, you were saying something before.
Oh, I was just mumbling to myself, wondering if you could make an MOU agreement where, because he said in his comment that he'd let people park park there for town business. And that was a problem, right? Because when it's really busy and there wasn't enough space, so could you leave the asphalt and make an MOU, the town make an MOU, maybe that's
So
a
we're
faster legal
not
question.
gifting it, we're
Right.
exchanging it for
You're
parking
making
space.
a,
That,
to
well,
be able to
that,
park.
that would actually, it wouldn't be an MOU though, because the MOUs can only be established for 5 years. If you want deed restriction, it's another process. I mean, and all this comes down to valuation and all of that. I mean, and that's where this gets a little bit tricky when it's public money. If it was you and I having a conversation,
I know,
it's real
but-
different.
But if we have a quid pro quo there. We've asked for, leave the asphalt where it is. In exchange for parking spaces, then we're not gifting anything, it's a
Well,
exchange.
But Mr. Hoffman also said he has tenants. And that's 3 parking spaces, and we've now put restrictions on hours because we're going to end up with fewer parking spaces. So there's, I'm not belittling the generosity of the offer. I'm questioning whether it's a functionally useful one.
Because how many of your tenants park back there?
Right. But they're not back there during the daytime, typically they work. Business owners. Again, I think it's a larger conversation because you're gonna say, well, it's publicly available if it's available. Or it's available from 8 to 5, so his tenants can never park there from 8 to 5. I mean, I'm not belittling it by any stretch. I'm simply saying that it's not quite as easy as saying this is not publicly available. And again, that would have to be something that would have to be negotiated. And I don't know if at 9:20 tonight, we're gonna reach a resolution.
I think the attorneys need to talk.
But quickly.
Yep.
They need to talk quickly. We got
Very
people
quickly.
going out of town, we're gonna get this done by the Friday or something.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get it done by Friday. The meeting's at 8 AM. So you're talking about functionally getting it done by Thursday, 2 days from now. I don't know if,
Possible.
I think they just need to talk.
Yeah.
See put stuff out on the table, have them talk.
He's actually one of the attorneys involved in crafting all encroachment briefing.
Yeah, no.
He's.
Yes. I know. He's a fair guy.
well, I would say for the sake of tonight,
Yeah.
that the attorneys can talk and
Yeah, super.
give you an update when I get one. And go from there.
That's fine. Yeah, this stuff happens in construction all the time.
Right.
We can't.
Well, I would say there's a reason that previous boards have not undertaken the back parking lot. It was a very complicated,
Right.
messy project to be undertaking. And
Sounds like it continues to be. right?
well, especially given that it's ARPA,
Right.
it's ARPA federal money, and we're
Right.
getting emails from the federal government that if there's any issues, they will reclaim. And I don't want to send that money back in any way, shape or form.
Right, so we're under
To this-
time pressure.
Yeah.
To get this done.
I have a question. I don't know if it's my place to say it. Question. Based on the money, that. How are they gonna let you throw topsoil and grass seed on somebody else? Probably. If they wouldn't let you throw asphalt. I'm not asking for asphalt. For the sake of the argument. They won't let you throw asphalt down, but they're gonna let you throw dirt and grass seed.
Well, that's not ARPA. doing
That's
it.
not ARPA.
That was
That's
gonna be
us. They're just giving us the money to pay the parking
Well, for the
And
whole
we have
project.
to,
for the whole project.
we have
Right,
to,
but that money's gonna
Part
go
of it is
towards,
dirt.
somebody's paying for the topsoil and grass seed.
I don't know, let the lawyers talk. Okay, This is beyond our mind to agree.
Okay, sorry. Agenda away. Okay, 2 upcoming town board meetings on the 22nd and the 13th. Minutes.
Minutes were posted this afternoon, so I'm not sure if anyone.
I read them.
Yeah, I saw them on SharePoint, so, but does anybody, we can always move them to the next meeting, wait till the next meeting, if you'd rather have more
Yeah.
time.
I'll vote on them.
It's just on the on our regular board meeting. On page like
The 25th and the April 2nd special meeting.
the 25th. My name was spelled wrong.
What's that?
My name was spelled wrong. I'd like the bottom
I
update.
don't know, okay.
Not that I'm offended. You could leave it that way.
That'll be another alias for you and.
Yeah.
But apply for credit.
Yeah. But otherwise, I thought they looked good. Thank you for taking the notes on the second.
Okay,
Substitute.
we had 2 sets of minutes, right?
Yep.
The 20, sorry, I don't have it.
25th.
So it's, yeah, 25th and the second, 25th of March and the 2nd of April, which was the joint meeting with the comp plan. I'll make a move to approve the minutes as presented with the, I'm sorry, make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected, at least for the meeting the list. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no board notifications tonight. We do have budget modifications that were handed out. Does anybody have any questions on it?
On the
Hey,
DA fund,
the DA fund? Yeah,
the increase and decrease are different amounts.
you're right there. I think that it's meant to be 50.
Yeah. Looking at the map.
If you do the math.
No?
Thank you for that catch. Is there any other questions or changes needed? I'll move to approve the budget modifications as corrected in DA. And
Second.
thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Payment of audited claims. Krista printed out a resolution on this. So I will move it and get a second. Have any questions? Resolves the town board has reviewed and approves payment of claims for the following vouchers. A through SW funds vouchers 170 through 221 in the amount of $87,809.93. And the HA fund voucher 9 in the amount of $22,461.50. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions about any of them?
Does that mean the bridge is back underway?
So sort of, what's going on at the Curry Road Bridge? So we got feedback from DOT finally. And now there's a resubmission process that happens. At the timeline we're looking at, we should be able to go out to bid in October. So, but we're looking at a 2026 construction season. So. But it's April, so. But yes, we're moving that along and. Unfortunately, we're just held up by state DOT for literally 6 months, so.
So we'll be early,
Yes,
26.
exactly. Yeah, we're gonna be super competitive
First in line.
for 2026, yeah. Let's hope the market is stabilized in terms of supplies. Okay, we have a motion and a second, thank you. Oh, no, we don't have, we do have a second, sorry. Any further questions on the vouchers? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are back full circle to privilege of the floor. Anybody online or in person is welcome to address us. We'll start in person. And then move online. Is there anybody in person who wishes to address the town board? Please go ahead.
Which one?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Hoffman.
Sure, come up there, Steve.
Let's come on up so we can make sure we catch your voice.
This is a lot shorter and sweeter. Just wanted to say thank you. Appreciate the, let me continue with the 3-minute whatever there. I'm not here to make things difficult. Just trying to get along. And all get together and work this out. We can work together. We can all have parking back there. Be neighbors. I'm not going anywhere. I have no plans of selling it. Building next door anytime soon, so. Get along with them next 10-15 years at least.
Okay, thanks, sir.
I can stick around, you know, while but I'm at home as well.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Is there anybody online who wishes to address the town board? Sage, please go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to apologize for speaking out earlier in the meeting after my time had ended. I truly do appreciate the effort to keep things respectful and orderly. And I spoke up only because somebody was claiming to represent residents of our road. So I take that a little personal. And from what I can tell, they don't actually live or own property on the road or even actually in the town of Ulysses. So I felt it was important to clarify that, to uphold the integrity of what's being presented to the board, even though I recognize I should have waited. So I just thank you for your time and the care that you're taking to navigate this conversation. So thank you, and I apologize.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody in person who wishes to address the town board? Please go ahead.
I'd like to do it from here. Maureen
No problem.
Chalish. Earlier, I spoke in my comments about having confidence in the board, taking serious the opinions of all, and doing your due diligence in moving forward with this project. And there was evidenced here tonight with what just occurred with this gentleman here, in your respect of his concern and the issue that he has with parking. And the complete transparency of the process that you hold here in taking serious your duties to the public that you serve, your concern for them, and for the public's funds. It was evidenced in this discussion here. And again, I reiterate my confidence that you'll do the same moving forward with this new proposal for the park. And I thank you for the respectful way in which you handle this. So thank you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate your comments. Is there anybody online who wishes to address the town board? Please go ahead, Tyler.
You're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. It just keeps disconnecting. I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were raising your hand.
Sorry, it just keeps disconnecting on my end. So I've missed a lot of the last. No, I've just missed a lot of the last 10 minutes. Regardless how much time we spend at our house or who stays there and all of that, we're still taxpayers in our opinion. What's that?
You're breaking up.
Sorry, you're breaking up. It might be easier if you go off video so we can hear your voice. Maybe that will help.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, turn your video off, then the audio
That's
will come through better.
Oh,
Nope, I'm frozen.
sorry.
Well, if you're watching this video later, you can always email us to make sure your comments are recorded. Thank you. Is there anybody in person? Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I wanted to second what Maureen here just said. I think it's really great that you're giving the public such an opportunity that you adjourn the public hearing to let people think a little more and come back again and say things. I think it's really important for people to be able to be heard and on this issue and other issues. So thank you for doing it. I know it's not easy to do, sitting up there and doing it. And the other thing, not related at all, is that I was thinking when Mary was reporting on the rec partnership and remembering back to that. And so I just looked up quickly. So with regard to the camp crisis, I mean, they have camp at the rec partnership too, and we get a 50% discount because we're a rec partnership member. And so I know, it's a bit of a ways, and transportation is an issue though. A lot of people do drive to Ithaca, and perhaps at some point we can figure out a way how to take some advantage of that and provide the transportation that people could pay into once a day or something. That would obviously not happen for this year, but they haven't opened the camp registration yet. And so perhaps and it's a bit more expensive, but it doesn't appear to be terribly so, but I don't understand, but I haven't looked really carefully at it. Perhaps we could put information on the town's website and maybe even in the newsletter that, reminding people we are part of the rec partnership. It's especially something that perhaps is helpful to people in the southern part of the town who don't often have access to the camp facilities up here. They wouldn't come up here because it's too far away, even if they were within that 20%. And that, this hasn't opened yet, and we can post when we know that it does. And so maybe it helps at least a little. And I think it's good to remind people, that we are part of the rec partnership, we are paying for that, and they do get, you know, residents of our town do get advantages for us being part of that, so.
I think they have the same kind of problem about camps filling up
Right, but they
really
They
fast.
haven't started yet, so
Yeah.
people could still try to get in there if they, it's
If
another
they- yeah,
option
yeah.
that's close by. To make people aware of, but also just, as I said, to remind people that we're paying into the rec partnership. We think it's a valuable thing for our citizens to have access to these programs, and here's where you can look for them, including here. So anyway, thank you.
Great, thank you, Roxanne, I appreciate it. Leave everybody an opportunity, so.
Move to adjourn.
Oh, and thank you for approving the citizen for nursing.